Are you our dad? The question hit him like lightning. Daniel froze in the middle of the grocery store aisle, a carton of milk slipping slightly from his hand as he slowly turned around. Two little girls, identical twins, maybe 6 years old, stood behind him with wide eyes and nervous expressions. Their tiny hands were locked together as if they were scared but determined. Daniel stared. The girls stared back. For a second, the entire world around him disappeared. The noise of shopping carts, people talking, children crying, everything faded into silence. One of the twins swallowed hard and pointed at his forearm. Our mom has a tattoo just like yours. Daniel's heart stopped. His eyes dropped instantly to his arm. The tattoo. A small black crescent moon wrapped with 3 stars. Simple. Tiny. But incredibly rare. His breathing became heavy. That tattoo wasn't random. It was personal. It meant something. Something he had buried for years. Something connected to the woman who had shattered his life. Daniel slowly crouched to their height. His voice came out rough. Where is your mother? The twins looked at each other. Then one quietly pointed toward the front of the store. She's there. Daniel stood and looked. And the moment he saw her, his blood turned cold. The milk slipped from his hand and crashed onto the floor. No. No way. Impossible. The woman standing near the checkout counter turned at the sound. Her face went pale. She froze. Daniel felt like the floor disappeared beneath him. Elena. The name escaped his lips like a ghost. Her eyes widened. Terror. Shock. Pain. All of it flashed across her face at once. She whispered one word. Daniel. 8 years. 8 long years. Gone. 8 years since she vanished without warning. 8 years since she disappeared from his life with no explanation. 8 years of questions. Pain. Anger. And now she stood in front of him. Alive. And with 2 twin daughters. The twins looked between them in confusion. Mama? Elena looked terrified. Her hands trembled. Daniel walked toward her slowly. His chest burned. His voice shook with rage. You disappeared. Elena said nothing. You vanished without a word. Still silence. You left me. Tears filled Elena's eyes. Then Daniel looked at the twins. His mind raced. The math. The ages. The tattoo. The timing. No. No. His voice dropped into a whisper. How old are they? Elena's lips trembled. She didn't answer. Daniel stepped closer. How old are they? The twins clung to their mother. Elena shut her eyes. 7. Daniel stopped breathing. 7. 7 years old. His entire body went numb. Because 8 years ago, before Elena disappeared, they had spent one final night together. One night full of tears, promises, and love. A night he had replayed in his head thousands of times. And now, his eyes slowly moved to the twins. They had his eyes. His exact eyes. The same dark brown. The same shape. The same stare. Daniel felt dizzy. He looked at Elena. His voice cracked. They're mine. It wasn't a question. It was truth. Elena broke. Tears streamed down her face. Yes. Daniel staggered backward as if he had been punched. The twins stared at him. Then one asked softly, You really are our dad? Daniel's entire world shattered. Years of pain exploded inside him. His knees nearly gave out. He looked at the girls. His daughters. His daughters. He had daughters. 2 little girls. 7 years old. And he had missed every single second. Every birthday. Every first word. Every first step. Every nightmare. Every laugh. Gone. Stolen. His voice exploded. Why? The entire store fell silent. People turned. Elena cried openly now. Daniel's fist shook. Why would you do this to me? Elena whispered. Please, not here. Daniel laughed bitterly. Not here? Not here? She stole 7 years of his life. And now she wanted privacy? Daniel ran a hand through his hair. His body shook violently. You let me believe you were gone forever. Elena whispered through tears. My father found out. Daniel froze. Her father. Immediately, rage turned into cold dread. Elena's father was dangerous. Powerful. Cruel. A man obsessed with control. What did he do? Elena cried harder. He threatened to kill you. Daniel's anger paused. She continued. He said if I stayed with you, he'd destroy your life. He said he'd make sure you disappeared. Daniel stared. Elena's voice broke. I found out I was pregnant 2 weeks after I left. Daniel's breathing became shallow. I wanted to tell you. I tried. She sobbed. But he watched everything. My phone. My emails. My accounts. Daniel said nothing. Tears ran down Elena's face. When I learned it was twins, I broke. The twins held onto her tightly. Elena looked directly at Daniel. I spent every day hating myself. Daniel's jaw tightened. She continued. When my father died 6 months ago, I finally had freedom. Daniel felt his anger colliding with unbearable grief. Elena cried. I came here to find you. Daniel blinked. What? She nodded. I've been searching for weeks. One twin looked at Daniel nervously. Mama said you're brave. The other added quietly. She said you're kind? Daniel broke. Completely. Tears burned in his eyes. He looked at the girls. His girls. Their innocent faces destroyed every wall inside him. One twin stepped forward. Are you mad at us? Daniel's heart shattered. He dropped to his knees instantly. No. His voice cracked. No, baby, never. The twins looked uncertain. Daniel opened his arms slowly. The girls hesitated. Then both ran into him. The impact destroyed him. He wrapped his arms around them and cried. Years of loneliness. Pain. Heartbreak. All gone in one overwhelming moment. His daughters clung to him tightly. One whispered. You feel safe. Daniel cried harder. He had imagined this moment thousands of times. But never like this. Never. After several minutes, Elena knelt beside them. Her voice barely worked. I'm sorry. Daniel looked at her. Pain still lived there. So did anger. But beneath all of it, he saw truth. She had suffered too. She had carried this alone. Raised twins alone. Protected them. Protected him. The girls pulled away slightly. One smiled nervously. We told Mama you were him. Daniel blinked. How? The other twin grinned. The tattoo. The first added. And your eyes. Daniel laughed through tears. The twins smiled. Then one asked the question that shattered everyone again. Are you leaving? Silence. Daniel looked at them. At Elena. At the broken years behind them. At the impossible future ahead. Then he gently wiped the twins' tears. His voice came out steady. No. The girls stared. Daniel smiled through tears. I'm not going anywhere. The twins exploded with joy. They threw themselves into him again. Elena covered her mouth and cried. Daniel looked at her. Years of pain still needed healing. Trust needed rebuilding. The wounds were deep. But one thing was clear. He had lost 7 years. He would not lose another second. That night, the 4 of them sat together in Daniel's home. The twins talked nonstop. About school. Favorite cartoons. Ice cream. Bedtime stories. Daniel listened like a starving man finally being fed. Every word mattered. Every laugh mattered. Every second mattered. At one point, one twin climbed into his lap. The other followed. Daniel held them close. The first whispered sleepily. You smell nice. The second smiled. You feel like Dad. Daniel's tears returned. Because for the first time in 8 years, he felt whole. Later, after the girls fell asleep on the couch, Daniel and Elena sat in silence. Finally, Elena spoke. You hate me. Daniel stared at the sleeping twins. Then quietly answered. I hated what happened. Elena cried silently. Daniel exhaled. I loved you every day. Elena broke again. He looked at her. I don't know what happens next. She nodded painfully. I understand. Daniel's eyes softened. But they deserve both parents. Elena wiped her tears. Yes. Daniel looked toward the couch. His daughters slept peacefully, holding each other. He smiled. Then whispered words Elena never expected to hear. We start with tomorrow. Elena stared. Daniel continued. One day at a time. Tears streamed down her face. She nodded. One day at a time. Not forgiveness. Not yet. Not healing. Not yet. But hope. For the first time in years. Hope. The next morning, Daniel woke to tiny footsteps. He opened his eyes. The twins stood beside his bed, watching him. Smiling. Daniel blinked. What? One whispered excitedly. He's awake. The other grinned. Then both shouted together. Good morning, Dad! Daniel froze. Silence. Then his eyes filled instantly. Dad. They called him Dad. His daughters called him Dad. He opened his arms. They jumped onto the bed laughing. And as sunlight poured into the room, Daniel held his daughters close. Tears rolled down his face. Not from pain. Not from heartbreak. But from something he thought he had lost forever. A family. Broken. Scarred. Imperfect. But real. And as his daughters laughed in his arms, Daniel realized something powerful. Sometimes life steals years from you. Sometimes love gets buried under pain. Sometimes fate feels cruel beyond reason. But miracles? Miracles arrive when you least expect them. Sometimes in grocery stores. Sometimes with twin girls. And sometimes with 4 impossible words that change everything forever. Are you our dad?